Yo, welcome back to my YouTube channel. And I know I've been gone for a long time, and as you see, I'm in a new spot, and that's kind of why I've been gone for a long time. But the other part about why I've been gone for a long time is the reason why I'm about to make this video. And that's because I was doing this game jam. It was a 2-week adventure game jam, and you're supposed to make an adventure game in 2 weeks. However, I joined late and only had 9 days. So I just want to take you through the process of what happened, what I created, and also at the end of this, I want to tell you guys to go ahead and go vote or rate my game on the Adventure Jam and go download it for free. It's fun. So here's what I did. So this is the game jam that I joined, and like I said, I joined it late, and I joined it on June 1st, so I only had 9 days to make the game. As you see, it was actually supposed to be a 2-week game jam, but I only had 9 days. So the rules is basically saying, create an adventure game, no themes to follow, except adventure game. Okay, cool. And you can use all the stuff you need, blah blah blah, voting. Here's the categories and whatnot. And so, what happened is, I decided to get busy. I was like, yo, ChatGPT, what's the game jam idea that I can make that's gonna win? And basically, ChatGPT gave me like one of the dopest game ideas. Let's see if we can get it. So basically, it said something about a Chrono Voyagers, time unleashed. Players embark on extraordinary adventures against different eras, armed with time-traveling device. I'm like, yo, this would be sick. I don't know how to do any of this kind of time stuff in Unreal, but it says that it make it a strong contender for a 9-day game jam. So let's get going, and let's try to create a lot of these different things. So the first thing that I did was open up Unreal Engine, and I wanted to see if I can make her have some time powers. Because if it said create a Chrono Voyager and make them have time powers, cool. So let's see if I can make things go backwards. And successful. It wasn't that hard to make things go backwards. You just had to update the positions and make it remember the positions that it was just at. So that's how I did that. And now moving on to the hard part. So I wanted her to have time powers and control the time. So in order to control time, I thought that it would be cool to switch between different time eras. So I had to figure out how to do like 2 maps on top of the same map, and I knew there was a way to do it in Unreal, but I could not figure it out for a while. But I finally got it, and I did it using something called data layers. And all you have to do is turn on one data. You can put as many data layers as you want to, and each one can have different actors attached to them, and then you can turn them on and off according to your code. And so now that I got that figured out, oh man, day 1 was over, and it was time for day 2 because I needed to go to sleep in order to go ahead and complete this game jam for real. But the next step, I had to build a storyline in my mind and an environment. And I'm like, yo, if I do what I normally do and I think hard, then I'll come up with these massive worlds and massive environments. I'm like, I can't do that for this one. So I decided to build like a science fair. And I'm like, yo, maybe I'll put the game in a science fair. So after I finished the whole second day, which was creating that time machine that took her from the science fair to somewhere else, I decided like I need somewhere else to take her. So I wanted her to get like, I don't know, going into like a chrono hub, like a spaceship type deal that's in between time. And for this area, I wanted it to be a tutorial area, because in the first area is kind of like an intro to the game. And this area is going to be like a tutorial area where she can learn how to use her powers, which you didn't use in the first level. So that's what I created. I created like a spaceship, put a little dome outside of it with some space texture on it, and I just decided like this should be an area where she just learns to use her powers and then goes to the next level, which would be the first mission. It took me the whole third day to make this environment and put it together, but then I took a break on the fourth day because I was tired, and I was also moving, and I was like, dang, I need some time to move. And so on the fifth day, what I did was I came back to the same Chrono Hub level, the spaceship area, and I coded it up with all of the instructions on how to use the powers, and I coded up little creative ways to teach the player how to use the power. And then by that time, it was time to create the next level because, I only had 5 days left or 4 days left. And I was getting really slim on time, and I knew that the next level was going to actually have to include all the gameplay and all the mechanics that you learned in the tutorial level, and so I got busy. On the sixth day, it was time to create the main level, and in this level I actually had to create the storyline and merge it with the level, so it was tough because I didn't have a storyline. So the first thing I did is I started off by making a drawing, and I was like, I had to use some medicinal inspiration to make this drawing. And I'll show it to you guys. I'll put it on the screen, but damn, it's fucked. Anyways, but it got me an idea of what I wanted to make, and I wanted to make like a little beautiful world because this is an adventure game. And so I decided to make a beautiful world based on the map that I drew, and it turned out pretty cool. So while making this world, I had to come up with a storyline at the same time, and I really didn't have a storyline, but I decided, first, let me just put all the like trees and rocks and make it look pretty, like, because I'm thinking if she can switch between times, maybe make the past look beautiful and the present look like industrial. So that's what I was kind of, that was the theme I was thinking about doing. So I decided to make the beautiful past. And then I decided maybe there was like 4 different settlements. Maybe there's like the giants live over here on the west side. The original people of the land, which I named Pangu, they live here in the little wood house. You got the humans in a settlement by the river. And then you got the flower people way off by the huge tree in the background. And then that way I could kind of set up, kind of like an adventure story, to get going from that point. Alright, so the 6th day was done, and now it's the 7th day, and this is when I had to like really speed it up because I'm like, okay, I have one part of the world created, but I don't have like the future created, and I needed to create the future, which was the industrial part. So I got busy and started working on the future. And also on the 7th day, I added all the enemies into, and I added like the enemies attacks. But the future is an industrial area with a lot of different races from the past. They're all living in one area now, and you can see that the big tree is replaced by a big Ed statue, which as I was designing this world, I got the lore of the game in my head. It's like this guy in the past named Big Ed. He's trying to take over, but he has a small settlement of humans at the time. But in the future, he takes over everything and industrializes the planet and takes all the resources and turns it from green to gray. I don't know. The 8th day came so fast, and this was the final day that I had to create before submission day. And wow, this day I had to really create the lore of the game, and I had to come up with it off the top of my head because like I had the idea of the Big Ed thing, but I didn't know what you're supposed to do in the game. So I made it so that there's a lot of enemies to fight. So, each time you beat one, they'll drop a shard, and you're supposed to collect 50 shards. So there's shards from enemies that you drop, and there's shards from people or just hidden around the map, I should say. And if you pick those up and deliver them to the chief of Pangu, then you beat the game, and you can go back to your ship and you're done with this planet. these crystal shards are from this rock called Dimensionite, and that's how they run their planet. That's how they go back and forth between time, and you're gonna have to go back and forth between time to find these different shards. Also, I made it so that different NPCs around the map will give you quest lines, and if you complete those quest lines, then they'll give you shards so that you can help get to 50 faster. I also had to refine each area. So, for example, in the area of the giants, I wanted the quest line to have to be unique and the area to be unique. So what I did is I made these two big giants be throwing big boulders, and if you get hit by any of these boulders, then you will get hurt a lot. And some of the boulders are just rocks and some of them are gold, but you have the opportunity to pick up a pickaxe in this area and mine some of these rocks and get gold yourself. And this gold you can give back to another NPC for a quest, and they'll give you some more Dimensionite shards. So it's a lot of things like that on the map, and obviously I would have done a whole lot more if I had more time. But this day was ticking down, and I was so tired because I stayed up to like, it was like morning time of the next day when I really went to sleep for this one. On submission day, I was super nervous because I didn't have any sound effects in my game. And so this day I dedicated to doing all the sound effects, and also I didn't have any HUDs like pause menu, start menu, options, all this stuff. So I had to code up all of these title screen options, pause, all the sounds that you hear in the game. I had to make all the music. I took 2 or 3 hours this submission day, and I sat down and made 4 beats so that, you know, it'd be music throughout the whole game. And then it was clicking down to 8 o'clock, which is time to submission, and my game was mixing down, and sadly it didn't mix down properly the first time. So I had to remix it down and figure out what was the problem. And the only problem was that I didn't have enough space on my computer at the time. So I deleted some other projects and I mixed it down again, and it was perfect. I tested it out with like 15 minutes to go. I saw that there were some bugs. It didn't matter to me though, so I submitted it still. And after I submitted it, I let out a small update, like a little patch, to fix some bugs. And that is Chrono Voyager. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll show you some more gameplay here.
Welcome back, Chrono Voyager. Seems like you got time amnesia again. No worries, this happens all the time. All we have to do is to recalibrate your powers. Please proceed to the training room. Use your time reversal powers to reverse time. Use your time bomb to slow down enemies and objects. Keep an eye on your time power bar and use time crystals to refill it. Now to your first mission, the planet Pangu. You will meet the Chrono Ambassador when you arrive. Remember to fight. Remember to win. You are the Chrono Voyager. 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 Voyager.
Hey you! Stop there! Hey you!